Alright, so here's the old range. This is a standard electric coil range we've had for I don't know how many years, 6 or 7 years. I'm going to be replacing this one with the Samsung Induction Range. So just for comparison, before I get rid of this thing, because I'm not going to have them installed at the same time, I'm going to, sorry, toaster oven dinging, also making lunch. I'm going to boil some water. This pot is at room temp. This is the largest burner, well, one of the largest burners. And here are 2 cups of room temp water. So I will just be using the time elapsed on the video to give you the final time here. This burner is not preheated. Turn it up on high. We're at the 50-second mark. Quicker than I expected, actually. We're at 4 minutes and 30 seconds, roughly. You can see right now only the water on kind of this half of the pot is boiling. Not really sure what that's about. Probably something to do with the fact that my burner's a bit uneven. These old coil burners, you know, they don't really sit flat, they kind of flex a lot. So now, looks like the whole pot is finally boiling at about 5 minutes. I'm going to let this pot cool down, and we'll try it again with this IKEA brand induction hot plate that I've been boiling most of my water on because I am very impatient, and this is still apparently faster than the old electric coil stove. But I've never actually timed it, so I'm going to time it. Stay tuned. Alright, so we're back with another 2 cups of room temperature water and a room temperature pot. I feel like this IKEA induction burner boils faster than the stove does. Let's find out. So it's at full power, and we're at 25 seconds. So the thing I don't like about the IKEA induction burner, one of them anyway, is the sound that it makes. I don't know if it's going to come across on the phone, but yeah, you can hear this sort of high-pitched whistling, rattling kind of sound. It really bothered me at first. It doesn't bother me quite as much now. I don't know if it's gotten better or if I just don't notice it, but it's definitely there. And you can also hear the fan noise. This thing has a pretty loud fan. I'm told that the Samsung induction range should not have the loud fan. I'm hoping that's true. So I'm going to set you down here, and we'll see how long it takes this pot to boil. Okay, so we're at about 3 minutes elapsed now, and this pot's boiling pretty quickly. Started boiling maybe 30 seconds ago. You'll see with this larger pot, because these tabletop, plug-in induction burners have such a small element, only the very center of the pot is boiling. Like the center, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. That's another thing that I don't really like about the portable burner. Not only does it only boil and simmer in the center of your pot, but also it only browns in that region. So, if you're making a grilled cheese or something, usually or pancakes, the very edge of a wider pot is not very useful. It just kind of holds the food. It doesn't really cook it. So, I'm expecting the Samsung to be delivered in a few days. We will see how it does. Alright, so we got the new range. Here it is. We'll go through it in a little more detail in a separate recording, but we're going to do the 2 cups of water test. Here I've got 2 cups of room temperature water, the same pot at room temperature. This pot is about the right size for one of the 2 medium burners. You can see this burner is the most powerful. I think it's 3600 watt burner. I'm not going to use that one because it's a little undersized. So we're going to go with this one. So let's turn on power boost. We're at 46 seconds elapsed.
Don't think we'll be watching this for very long. Been using this stove for a couple of days now. It's been pretty quick. You can probably hear a little bit of that rattling high-pitched noise. It's not as noticeable on this range as it was on the IKEA brand induction hot plate, which is a relief. Starting to get those swirls already. See some steam rising. Yeah, we're boiling 2 cups of water at 2 minutes and 28 seconds, so minute 45 to boil 2 cups of water on power boost. Pretty quick. You can see it's off and like it's not boiling pretty much immediately.
So another test that I want to run on all 3 of these cooking devices, the electric coiler range, the IKEA hot plate, and the new Samsung, is just to see how much browning surface each of them has. So I'm going to do that with what I have handy, which is pancake mix. So let's, I'm just going to try to make one really big pancake in a 12-inch skillet and look and see how these things brown. So let's do, how much pancake mix do I need for one really big pancake? Let's say 50-ish grams of pancake mix, and I'll add enough water to mix it up. $50 grams of mix, 90 grams of water, which gives us a fairly loose pancake for 140 grams total. I'm just going to take you over there in real time. So I'm going to start with the coil range. I'm going to set it to about medium heat. Now, this not being the induction hot plate, which I've been using a lot for this sort of thing, it's going to take a while to preheat the pan. We're just gonna wait. So we're at a minute 45 when I started it. It's not even beginning to feel warm. Actually, I tend to cook things a little high, so I'm gonna take it up to a little over medium. This is a carbon steel skillet, 12-inch. So it's got, over 9 inches of usable griddle space. I'm not a fancy cook. I don't have a lot of high-end equipment, so this is a cheap carbon steel skillet from Amazon. But it's well seasoned. It should work for pancakes. It has been working well for pancakes, well enough anyway, with a bit of cooking spray. Is it warm? It's starting to feel a little warm. I usually drip some water. No, it's not sizzling yet. Gonna wait. This is the thing that I'm hoping will get better with the Samsung induction range, that I won't have to wait so long. Because I know that this hot plate here heats up, at least the part of the pan that it's going to heat up, heats up very quickly, like seconds. Okay, so it's getting there, starting to sizzle. Alright, that's probably hot enough to cook a pancake on. So we're at 3 minutes 40 or so. Cooking spray on there. And I like big pancakes. So we're going to make a big pancake. Oh, I didn't get out too much, so let's get it all the way out. So this is going to be a nice sized pancake. It's going to be a little thin, but you can see it's starting to cook on the edges, dry out. So this big burner does seem to heat this pan all the way out to the edge. Never really thought much about the size of these burners. You can see it's cooking better on this side than on this side. I think that's just because of this burner being a little warped. Starting to dry out, but still pretty wet over here. Yeah, it's still pretty pale. I'm gonna wait to flip that. I did put a fair amount of, those look pretty wet batter, so this might take a bit too brown. You can see the carbon steel let go of it pretty nicely. So you see the browning pattern there. It looks like you didn't get great browning around the edges, but most of this inner part is nicely browned. I mean, I've never complained about the browning surface on this range. That's for sure. It's just the speed and accuracy of the heat control. So I'll finish cooking this one here, and then we'll set up again on the IKEA hot plate. I'll let you watch till we're done, just so we get the timing, how long it actually took to cook a pancake. You can see it didn't really cook as well in the middle either. I don't know if that's just where it's stuck or from the little, nubby that doesn't get hot in the center of the pan. How are we looking on the other side? Okay, you can see this side is pretty well browned. It's kind of a weird mix, like I said, but we'll repeat it on the other ones just the same way. It looks like it browned pretty well around the whole thing. This side is not super brown, but I think it might have just been standing up off the skillet a little bit. So I'm going to call this pancake done at about 8 minutes for one pancake. Well, minus the setup time. I'll go back and find that for you, get it all written out. All right, I cooled down the skillet, washed it out, set up again with the pancake mix. So that was, I don't know how long it took me, 2-3 minutes. This thing has been off for a while, but it's still very hot. I would definitely not want to touch this burner at this point. It's only been, 2-3 minutes, but still, this is another thing that I'm looking forward to with induction, is that I have little kids around. I don't want these burners to stay hot. When I turn them off, I want them to cool down. I want them to be cool. This thing, like the Samsung induction, as soon as you turn it off, it's warm. It's uncomfortable to touch, but it's not going to burn you. Like, you can touch it. So you'll see with this test just how small the inductor on this plate is. I think it's going to be very difficult to flip this pancake. But here we go. I'll set it to about medium. I usually end up cooking around the 800 setting on this one for pancakes because it browns a bit too fast. Yeah, let's set to 800. Because I find that even at 800 it's hotter than the old electric coil stovetop is, even on medium-high heat. So let's see where we're at. You can see that oil's starting to shimmer a little bit, and in the middle it is bubbling. On the edge it absolutely is not bubbling. You can see these drops out here just doing nothing. So pretty sure that's what's going to happen with the pancake mix too. Let's go ahead and add it. Got it well mixed. Looks like this mix is flowing a little bit better. I might have added maybe those 3 grams extra on the first batch made a difference. But all right, here we go. So we're at you can see it's starting to bubble in the middle a little bit. The edge is still very liquid. If I make pancakes on this IKEA cooktop, I generally make silver dollar pancakes and only make them in the center. Usually with a smaller pan too. I have a smaller flat skillet. Just for the sake of argument, we're going to use the big one today. So you can see it's kind of drying out on top here. I'm just gonna, this is something that I do sometimes. Well, no, I should leave it in the center. Sometimes I move it over a little bit to try to get the rest of this pan heated up. But I guess we should actually show you what the edges look like. I'm gonna keep it where it is. So at this point, I definitely can't flip the outside. The inside looks like it probably needs to be flipped. I think you're going to get the idea. So you can see the inside is pretty brown and the edge is not at all cooked. So, definite downside of these smaller induction burners. There we go. This pancake batter is a bit too wet, but you get the idea. Here's the center, 6 inches maybe that's browned. The very edge is not, it's still batter. It's not cooked at all. Didn't flip very well because the batter's a bit too wet, but that's how I started this test, so that's how I'm going to finish it. We'll do the same thing in a few days once I get the Samsung. See the opposite side? There's that little bit that I kind of lost when I was flipping it. But it seems like it's maybe browning a little bit larger in area now, probably from the rest of the pan, you know, slowly getting heated up. But still, this edge is very pale. Let's turn it up a notch. This thing, I really like it because it actually reads this power setting in watts. So I know that this is on the same circuit as my microwave, which also pulls 1,000 watts. Usually you're going to trip the breaker at around 1,800 to 2,000 watts. It's a 15 amp breaker. So if I run this at 1,000 watts and the microwave at 1,000 watts, I'm going to trip the breaker. But if I turn this down to 600, I can run the microwave safely. Something that I hadn't really thought about until I was using such a high-powered device on the same circuit as the microwave. But people on YouTube a lot seem to tell you to just go buy one of these induction plates. There's lots of downsides, as you're seeing here. Not just the power that it pulls, but looks like this pancake is pretty much done now. We're at 6 minutes. But also, you know, the burner size, the noise, it takes up space on your counter. I'm hoping that the Samsung induction range is a step up, and that maybe I'll only have to use this thing when I occasionally need an extra burner. We'll see.
Alright, we're back on the new range. We're going to do the pancake test just so you can see the browning area on this 11-inch burner. My 12-inch skillet doesn't quite fill the white circle. And I've been finding that it does brown all the way out to the edges. So let's go ahead and turn this burner on to 6. Let's try 6. Oh, a few drops of water just so you can see when it starts to heat up. I find that it, you know, obviously the higher the heat setting, the quicker the pan seems to heat up for me. You can see it's starting to smoke. Now we're starting to sizzle in the middle. So you can see that very outer edge of the pan is probably not getting heated by the induction element, even though it is within the white circle. It does, I mean, the heat spreads to that extra ½ inch there fairly quickly. You can see now it's starting to sizzle. So let's do some cooking spray. Pour in our loose pancake batter, since that's what I was doing with the other one. Make sure this thing spreads. And you can see it. I picked it up from the burner and it doesn't like that it's heating at me. We're back within the white ring. You can see pretty quickly it's starting to dry out on the edge here. Six might be a bit too high a setting for pancakes. I haven't quite worked out. I haven't quite got comfortable with this thing yet. I don't know what setting I like for pancakes. We'll figure it out. Alright, so it looks like it's starting to release now. Let's see. Nice even browning pretty much all the way to the edge here. This is not going to be an easy pancake to flip. I'm not sure why I made this batter so thin the first time. We're going with it. Oh, this is sticking terribly. I need to reseason this pan. You can see that edge isn't super brown. So I'm finding that the actual inductor probably isn't the whole 11 inches of the circle. It's probably more like, 9 inches, 10 inches maybe. But it's fine for this 12-inch pan. I mean, the whole edge, except for this maybe last half an inch, is getting heated pretty well. So I definitely can't complain about that. Same for these smaller burners. I put a 10-inch cast iron skillet on there. It heats the entire surface just fine. Like I'm making grilled cheeses on, it's no problem. Now I'm going to sear a tuna steak. This is something that I've heard, on some reviewers say you can overpower the fans in the cooktop, overheat the inductors. So we'll see. I like to really put a good sear on these, and then kind of leave them, medium rare in the middle. I know it was difficult to do on the IKEA induction cooktop because it overheated the cooktop, and it's a little hard to sear on the coil stove because it just takes so long. Like as soon as you put the item on your pan, it loses heat and it just can't seem to recuperate. So I'm gonna put I got this little cast iron skillet. What is it, an 8-inch skillet maybe? Let's put it on boost mode. So as soon as you put it, if you move the dial here from 0 to 9, it gives you boost mode, which is extra hot. So let's get this thing heated up. You can see it's already getting hot. I'm going to let it heat up just a minute longer, just so I can really get a good sear on this thing. Noticing that the very center of the pan is usually the last spot to get hot. I guess the inductor, it's a circle of wires, and there's that very center, 1/4 inch. Apparently doesn't have wires under it. So it seems pretty hot now. Let's go ahead and start searing my tuna. I'm gonna put it in a dry pan because I don't want to have a lot of smoke. Let's see how it goes. I'm still getting a lot of smoke anyway. Definitely smoking. Getting some nice caramelization there. Okay, it's searing. It's not super impressive. I did dry the outside of the steak off a bit so that we're not getting a lot of moisture on the outside. So you don't hear a lot of sizzling, but it's definitely browning. It's not like a beef steak where there's a lot of fat rendering off of this thing to bubble and, spit. Other side. It's pretty brown. Let's get the edges. Never like it when the medium rare is sticking out the edge. This does have some Cajun seasoning. I love the Cajun seasoning with tuna steaks. Highly recommend it. And you can see it's searing that whole edge. I think I got it all seared. I think it's going to need to cook a bit longer, actually. It didn't take very long to sear the thing. and you can see the pan's still hot. Like it's not like it's kicked off or anything. By now, the IKEA hot plate would have been beeping and turned off on me, told me it was too hot. I'm just gonna let it sear for another couple of minutes here, see if we can get it to stop. Not that I want to break the thing, but something that I've heard of induction cooktops, we will see. I had this wacky idea that if I needed to sear something really hot, I might put some kind of little glass, you have to have those borosilicate glass stirring rods, just to give it a little bit of air between the pan and the burner. It's still searing though, so I'm not really sure that that's going to be necessary. I can tell you that the pan still gets hot with a 3mm stirring rod between it and the burner, because I tried it. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be necessary. I mean, we're still searing. Yeah, I mean, we're getting nice and brown. It's not as impressive without a lot of moisture in the pan, but it's definitely hot. All right, that's probably gonna be good for lunch. Let's cut into it just to see what it looks like. That's going to be delicious. One of the neat features about this range is that the burners tell you when they're still hot, but they actually tell you how hot they are. You can see I just seared this tuna steak on this burner. It's got a capital H. I did the pancake test on this one a few minutes ago, lowercase h. And actually I pushed that pan back to the back burner, and now it's giving me a capital H on the back burner too. I don't appear to have overheated anything. I mean, the fan is still going a couple minutes after searing, but it's not. I mean, it's not like it's blowing really loud. Burner is still extremely hot. I wonder how hot it is. Yeah, so I mean, it's hot. It was in contact with the cast iron pan for 4-5 minutes searing that tuna steak, so I guess it should be a bit hot.